And he sent me a message. He was like, Dan, one of the best things I found about you was it felt like you actually cared. And do you know what I thought was mental?
Yeah.
That should be everyone.
So what makes you different?
My own unit since 2020, but I've been PTing since about 2014. Like, the more you understand somebody, the better relationship you have, the better you can get them where they're going. At the time, I wanted to prove that I was tough enough, fit enough, good enough. I got humbled big time.
You leave to go, so
Yeah.
and you're going, I'm not having a wage
My pants. Things working. No, exercise is compulsory. I've got a bit of a vetting program. I want to understand more about you, and then when we talk, I want to make sure we're compatible. A meal plan doesn't teach you anything. If you want the perfect result, they 100% go hand in hand. Fear about that sort of intensity is, what happens if you can't do it anymore?
Yeah. And welcome to How It Is. And this week's guest is an absolute cracker. And this is going to be an absolutely brilliant show. I know it is. So stay tuned. This is Dan Morgan, who's a PT.
Thank you very much for having me on.
So how did you start then? So, tell me your story, Dan.
What, how I got into the industry or how I started?
Everything from the beginning.
This is a long one.
We got plenty of time.
Coasted through school, thought it was a piss take.
Yep.
Did really well in my GCSEs without really trying. Left school quite arrogant. Went to college and got humbled big time, really quickly by A-levels. Thought I was the business and found out quite quickly that you can't fluke this stuff. Went to join the military, got turned down. Went back to do a B-Tech in sport because it was just like the entry in. My mother told me a course. I was convinced.
Sorry, just to stop. Why the military? Because I see a lot of people going into the military. I couldn't be told what to do all day.
I think at the time I wanted to prove that I was tough enough, fit enough, good enough. So I went to join the parachute regiment the first time.
Oh wow.
Got turned down because of, I think it was migraines at the time. So when my mother made me go, I wanted to go straight into work. My mother was like, go back and do sport. You'll like it. In school, I'll be honest with you, I've said this on the podcast before. I thought PE was for the kids that couldn't read and write. So I didn't do it in school. I thought, right. And then I got into it as I got a bit older. So I went in to do my B-Tech, came out after 2 years. Went and joined the paras then, got through selection, loved selection, got to basic training in Catterick. And within about 3 days, I think it was 2008, 5 paras had been killed in Helmand. And I'd only just started basic. And I was like, yeah, fuck this. So I thought, I've come here for the wrong reasons. Put my hand up, made the wrong decision, came out. Managed to get onto my degree course, did my degree. And when I finished my degree in coaching and performance, my father said to me, I was lucky enough, he said, I'll either give you money to do your masters in strength and conditioning, or you can pay for your personal training. And I weighed up the pros and cons, and you've got to be an ex-pro, you've got to know people to get into these areas in strength and conditioning. It's very old boys club, you're either in or you're not. So I thought, I'll do PT. Got into a gym, obviously when I met Saskia working there, but I'd been there for 10 years, slowly built up. Started PT in about a year or two in, and then just built slowly over time. And then coming close to COVID, I was starting to step away from the gym, doing less. I was starting to build my own business up. And then COVID hit, and I decided to just build my own unit and go for it. Yeah. And I've been doing it now since, my own unit since 2020, but I've been PTing since about 2014.
So what makes you different to somebody like JD Sport? Is it JD Sports? I haven't been to the gym for 15 years, right? Because
So as a personal trainer, what makes me different?
Yeah, and your gym, everything about you. Well, how do you, we are quite different. I've always said we're not your stereotypical compliance company, and we've purposely done that. Yeah. I don't want to be the pinstripe suits classes and really boring shit. I'm pretty damn certain we're the only compliance company who've got a podcast. For instance,
this is the first one I've seen anyway.
Yeah, so...
what makes... So with my unit, I'm only personal training and online. I do more online than I do one-to-one now, but I will never get rid of the one-to-one. I'd say what makes me different is a lot of the new age PTs, I would say, or maybe in the last 10 years, have gone to this one check in a week or twice a week you get to check in and speak to somebody. I still use Google Sheets and WhatsApp, and I talk to most of my clients every single day. I would rather work with less people and have more contact time. And I like to build, I feel like the more you understand somebody, the better relationship you have.
Absolutely.
The better you can get them where they're going. I feel, for me personally, maybe it's my check-in forms aren't right, but I don't like the more hands-off approach. I'd rather somebody message me 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night and go, Dan, I'm having a couple of drinks, what can I fit in? And I'll tell them, rather than them lose a full week by going off plan, so to speak.
Being a PT then, so and again, you're going to have to talk in the layman's because I'm 15 years out of training. I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. The problem I had to stop with is I tore my cartilages in both knees, My rotator cuff is knackered. It still is 15 years later. I done my wrist in, and I got lower back problems as well. Yeah. So other than that, I'm absolutely fine. I'm absolutely tickety boo, right?
Yeah.
So and I had 3 arthroscopies on my knees, and like surgery on my wrist and my hands, and you can see even down there and stuff. So I don't do it now. I always remember when I was at the gym and I talked to a good couple of the proper bodybuilders and they would go, the training is the easiest.
100%.
Yeah, so it's the diet. And like for me now, it's all about just try and cut. I've just been recently diagnosed celiac as well. So
it makes it a bit more difficult for you.
Oh my God.
Are you any good at being celiac though?
I am. I'm sticking to it.
Are you paying attention to what you need to do?
Yeah. Literally. I'm quite lucky. How can you be lucky being a celiac? But I'm quite lucky in the fact that I'm asymptomatic anyway, so I don't get bad deli bellies. What I have noticed is when...
Do you get the fatigue though?
I don't now, because I was getting tired. I was getting lots of colds. All the time. It was a cold and it was run down. It's essentially
autoimmune disease. Yeah,
and which I didn't realise, right? And I just cracked on and I would have one cold, then I'd have another cold, then I'd have another cold, and then another. And my missus going, and the kids would come in and she nagged me, right? My missus would go to the doctors if she broke a fingernail, right? And
I'm the opposite.
Me too.
I hate going.
And I was thinking that, changing my diet would repair it, but it's not. You just stay like, this is it now for the rest of my days.
You're going to manage the symptoms, probably. Yeah. Manage anything else that comes with it. You
go to some restaurants, I was telling Saskia earlier, you go to Harvester, for instance, and they go, oh, sign this disclaimer, this blah, 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 blah. Do you want me to come around the salad bar with you, do all this?
Because I think there's a massive range of, I think the severity of it from start, depending on how you, like you said, you're asymptomatic. Some people suffer. I've trained clients in the past that have to have completely different cutlery and pans to their partner because any cross-contamination can cause the same thing.
Yeah, which
that range is huge as well. Like you said, you don't really notice it that much other than colds.
But what's happened is if I've been cross-contaminated, the easiest way to explain it feels like if I've been winded, if somebody's punched me in the stomach, and I've gone, I've eaten gluten somewhere.
I've had some in,
and you're like, there.
And it's in so much as well.
My God, is it? And then some. Everything.
It's the other one I think.
Gravy, everything.
Palm oil is one people are trying to cut out now.
Really?
But it's in everything. Yeah. I don't know how people do it. I don't think it's possible to go down to that diet.
So tell me about your journey from leaving the gym and then to go self-employed. I know we spoke kind of
they kind of transition. So I was quite lucky. My old boss, big shout out to James. He's a bit of a beauty, but he's sound. Sass will know him. I was in the gym for a long time. And I'd started PTing, and James, my old boss, and Mark, the boy, was there before he left. My other old boss, they kind of worked together for. They helped me start PT, get me into it, give me a bit more confidence because I was always like, I don't know enough yet. I'm big on the Dunning-Kruger, but we'll maybe do that again. I didn't want to dive into it. Started doing a bit more, built a little bit more rapport, applied my trade just on the gym floor, classes, all that sort of stuff. And then about 5 years into that, I started to want to do more and more PT. And I was lucky enough that my old boss had made me the manager at that point. So I could phase my hours down a little bit, oversee the gym and start building my one-to-one a bit more. That started building through 2016, 2017, 2018, got more and more traction. Stepped down a bit more in 2019. Then COVID hit. And the gym was shut down essentially. I couldn't PT, but I had a couple of onliners at the time. I was still doing it early doors. Got through COVID, got the gym back running up, and during COVID I made the leap to go, do you know what, I think this is about nearly time for me to go on my own, built my own unit, and then I think I came down to about 10 hours in about 2021. Yeah. And in the end I was just drinking tea in the office because my old boss just wanted me there to oversee, and I was like, I can't do this anymore, I need to go and work for myself. So I left early 22 maybe. Yeah, and then...
when you leave to go solo, and you're going, I'm not having a wage coming in.
Shit my pants. So I think like I said,
I think people don't realise what a step that is. I'm probably lucky in a way. My back was against the wall.
And you had no choice.
Yeah, I had no choice. I was in lockdown. I had job offers rescinded. I had all these kind of things. Nick was been nagging me to go into business with him. And I had a deal come through. And I just rang him up and I said, look, I got this $2,500 deal here. I've never done one before. Have you done one? He's like, no. I said, what happened to that company you started up called Canon Compliance? He went, he said, it's there in name only for when this COVID malarkey blows over. It looks at, I said, let's do this thing.
Get it done.
And I just went, let's do it. Let's give it a go.
I had the complete opposite. So like I said about being data driven, I'd set myself targets. So like I said, when I equal my gym salary, I can go down to 10 hours.
Yeah.
When I double my gym salary, I'll go on my own. And then I did it. And then I remember thinking, oh, is this enough? And then it took me, I'd say, 6 or 8 months of consistently filling my books and doing relatively well and going, I'm settling now, I've got this. And like I'm big on, I'd give anybody as a youngster advice, my old man gave it to me, you should always have 3 to 6 months worth of bills saved in a separate account, because if shit hits a fan, especially if you're self-employed, you're going to need it. And I feel like that gave me quite a lot
Write
of
that one down.
I feel like that gave me a lot of like anxiety relief. I don't really struggle with any of that stuff, but I found when I didn't have a buffer fund, I was like, oh shit, this could all go away. Yeah. And then I moved into it and I slowly built my business from there, and I've been self-employed 4 or 5 years now. I've phased down my one-to-one a little bit. I still will always do one-to-one, but I don't do I used to do like 50 one-to-ones a week. I do probably 30 now. And then I've got my online business that seems to be growing a bit more now.
See, for me, you saying if you could lose it, that's the driver that keeps me pushing forward.
Oh, yeah.
I'm convinced that I will lose everything tomorrow.
I like to think that I like to tell myself regularly that no matter how well you think you're doing, it can go. Yeah. And don't get complacent. And that's why I'm always trying to read and there was a conversation I think we had before the cameras were rolling, is that like me and Nick were having a chat last night, and he said, I think we became complacent last year a bit. And I'm like, I think you're absolutely right. We did think growth would be just organic, and it would just come. But you're aware. I think being aware of that is massive. I think a lot of people will go 2, 3, 4 years maybe and just think, do anybody...
The thing is now is that we're on this growth drive, and just everything in this last, 3 or 4 months, since the turn of the year when we went, this is it, we're going to start growing, we're going to go for it, it's literally gone like that, because we're concentrating on it, we know the figures, we know what we got to do.
I think it's having the right people around you as well, man, because I've got quite a few business owners I train, and one of them said to me like a couple of weeks ago, he goes, Dan, you're taking your foot off the gas. I was like, but then I had to allude to him that. It's like, but you work 7 days a week and you haven't got much time off. I said, I'm trying to find that middle. I thought you probably struggled with that. I tried to find that middle ground. I had a client last week, and I had a guy I coached a while ago. Randomly say to me, he was a coach himself and he'd had coaches before. And he sent me a message. He was like, Dan, one of the best things I found about you was it felt like you actually cared. And do you know what I thought was mental? Yeah. That should be everyone in this industry. Yes. Like, I don't understand how people don't care or make it feel like they don't care about their clients. I feel like that is... It goes back
to the question I asked you already. What makes you different to other people and to JDs and all those? It's because you care.
Yeah, like, I am lucky that I love what I do. I've definitely got some form of, I don't want to say this on camera, some form of autism, that when I start learning about something, I can't put it down.
Like, if somebody's got a thing, it's ADHD, and actually tomorrow I go and get assessed to see if I am officially ADHD.
Are you getting your diagnosis potentially, you?
Yes. And again, I became really paranoid about it last year. And, my wife always says that I've got worse since my father died. I don't see it. But then I'm in meetings and I'll say something and I think, why did you say that? You shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. And I said to my business partner, I said, I think I may take some medication. And he went, don't you dare.
No, see somebody first.
Don't you dare. No, he's like, even if I think, he said, don't you dare. And I said, why? He said, you got us to this. Your personality and being who you are is part of this company.
We've all got quirks and that make you who you are.
But when I became, I think I became uncomfortable with myself, and I started asking, I do a lot of self analysis. I like self development. I like how can I improve myself? And it's probably a point last year, and a friend said to me, they went, "You're not the best version of yourself," and I thought, what a saying. What a sentence that is. You're not the best version of yourself, right?
Did you ask for feedback?
Yeah, I did. I said, how am I? And they went, you're not the best version of yourself currently. And I thought, fuck.
What
brilliant.
data did they give you?
That's
a
brilliant.
bullshit statement of data.
No, I like that. I like that.
See, for
because,
me, if you're going to say a statement, I need to know why, and I want a data sheet on what you're going to base that on. Don't give me a blanket statement.
That's the thinking types. I don't know if you've ever done prism thinking or disc thinking, where you've got the 4 quadrants of the brain. It's very, very good because, like, I'm green, what they call green-red, right?
Oh, I've read Surrounded by Idiots.
No, what's that?
It sounds similar. So Surrounded by Idiots is by a Swedish guy, and he talks about there's red, greens, yellows, and blues. You've got different. So
yeah.
I'm probably a blend of red, blue.
Right.
I'm very data driven, but I'm quite happy to take the lead.
This is probably more of a disc one because the colours are slightly different with different things. So data is yellow and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm not, see? Like Nick, my business partner, he's very much yellow. Nick is literally perfect. Me, I'm just green red, which is basically, I'm like, I want a flash watch, get to the point. Everybody knows, even Saskia here, you could say to her, if she sent me an email and it's like that, I will not read it. I will not read it,
really?
Right? Yeah, I've got to have it. I go, give me 4 bullet points or something like that, I'm happy. Yeah, I sat down with our accountants, right? And you got so much data because they're fractional accountants now. Profit, cash growth, brilliant, guys. That's another podcast as well.
Yeah.
Right, and there's so much information there, and I just go, I like a graph, because it's nice, easy, to the point to see where I am. And they just do a summary, and I'm like, great. Nick will go deep down.
I want to know the details.
Everything. I can't do that. And that's the Prism thing. It's great. So it's Surrounded by Idiots. I'm going to read that.
It's quite a simple read, but he just talks about how when you encounter people, you've got to not try and figure them out, but he says, try and understand where they're coming from. And then you can tailor your language to get the best out of people. Because, like, I will respond to things differently to say you will respond to things differently. You've got to let that person kind of work themselves out as well. And
in sales, it's very, very important. And in training people as well. Because
my other half calls me a social chameleon. Because you've got to adapt to the person who's in front of you. And not in a negative way, but you've got to know how to meet them where they are.
Yeah. How did you get your first client?
Well, I spoke about Mark earlier, one of my old bosses. He was PTing and full at the time. And he wanted to kickstart me, and this guy came along, who I've still got now, Graham. I've had him for like 10 years. He came to me and he was like, wanted to get started, similar sort of age to me, and I just picked him up on like a consult, nervous, shaking, taking like first proper sale for myself. And he'd been with me ever since, like 10, 12 years later, like I see him once a week.
So with personal training, like with us now, our customers either look for price. Is price a thing? Is price an issue to people?
So that's a paradox.
Yeah,
so when I started, I think it was £200 for 10 or whatever it was at the time, and I thought that was really expensive. But my old boss Mark would be like, "No, Dan, that's way too cheap." And I'm like, "No, I can't charge."
I was just going to say that sounds very reasonable.
Really
to
cheap.
Me.
I was like, "No, I'm not good enough. I can't charge her." As the years have gone on, and I've charged more and more and more.
Yeah.
People listen to me more and they do more what I say, and I get not better clients, but a different client.
Yeah.
Whereas when it was relatively cheap, I feel like people would pay for it, not respect it, but not take it seriously. Wouldn't kind of get the results they want, wouldn't buy into the process, and then kind of sack it off.
Because they don't see the value in what you do.
Now I'm double or more than double what I started on now. And the clients again now, they all listen to me, they get great. Unless I do get some odd unicorn clients where a couple of £100 is pennies to them because they've got a very successful business or whatever they're doing, and they still may not take it seriously.
Yeah.
But I've also got, this is another thing maybe makes me different, I've got a bit of a vetting program.
Okay.
I'm not afraid to say it. I've got a questionnaire pack. I want 7 days of food tracking, and I want to speak to you a bit before you come for a consult, and then the consult dictates on whether we can work together.
Oh, wow.
So whereas some PTs will kind of take anyone, I'm quite anal about making sure everything's in place. I want to know your history, your training history, what's your relationship with food. I want to understand more about you, and then when we talk, I want to make sure we're compatible. Because I'm not the trainer for everyone. Quite happy to say that. The way I do things is a little bit longer winded. My process is a little bit longer. I take people through like an education process. So instead of going use a meal plan, which by the way is technically illegal, technically unless you're a dietitian.
But I get what you're saying, because sometimes the best clients are the ones you don't have.
Yeah. And like I'll be honest, like, you see people getting meal plans, and like I can go into a massive tangent on this, but like a meal plan doesn't teach you anything. Eat that for 6 weeks, crack on. But then what do you do after it? I use something called like flexible dieting with MyFitnessPal. You've probably all heard of it, but I use people to track their food. They can fit anything they want in within reason. We learn how to track food out. We learn how to make our meals fit what we enjoy.
Yeah.
Everybody's got different tastes. I've had people who will live off what I would call like beige food, all the way up to like girls that are like Michelin star chefs and will eat anything.
Yeah.
And we can make those things fit. And if you understand how to feed yourself, how to pull things back, and it's not a great example, but I get people to treat their food like their finances. You've got a set calorie limit, you've got targets to hit. Where you should look at your finances is you can't afford it, you can't have it. I know that doesn't apply to everyone because people will screw it. But I take my time, and when I say some people will get a transformation in 10 weeks, I have people for more like 4, 5, 6 months at a time. And then I want them to tell me to fuck off in the end, is the nice way to put it. I want them to go, I'm good, I know what I'm doing.
So with being a PT then, it's, we go back to, could you do just the diet part of it, or does it have to be, they go hand in hand, the diet and the training?
If you want the perfect result and you want the best out of everything, they 100% go hand in hand. You can do a lot with diet alone. Because it is the 23 hours a day you're not in the gym. And controlling your food will always be the most important factor when it comes to fat loss or muscle gain. Granted, training is the stimulus. You need the training, especially for muscle gain, it's a bit more important. But for fat loss, you can lose fat with pure diet alone. But it's quite hard to do that way. So you bring in training to kind of get everything in order. And normally I find, ironically, nutrition matters more, but training is what people enjoy more. So if you can get them to enjoy the training and they buy into the nutrition, the result is better. So what happens
when you've got somebody like me who's got a bust rotator cuff, or it's just a tear in there somewhere, who's going to see a chiropractor every week because my lower back, my L1 and L2 and that, it's all around there is bad. My knees are knackered, my wrist is knackered.
You work around it. You'd be surprised. With the right exercise program, you can make things work. And no, exercise is compulsory. You can put things in that your body will allow you to do. So I've got a couple of clients who, one of my clients a few years ago loved deadlifting, but he's got a lower back disc issue. We tried a few different variations. We trialed things in and out, and we got somewhere with it. And then in the end, we were like, right, we can't deadlift. It's giving you grief. I know you love it, but we know this is it. And then we've moved on to other alternatives that he still enjoys, but don't give him the pain that he had before. And it's about finding what you can do, what you enjoy doing, but more importantly, what you'll do consistently. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to be a fitness gimp and be in the gym 5 days a week. You can get so much out of 2 or 3 sessions a week if you keep your food nailed. And believe it or not, steps. If you just do 10 to 15,000 steps a day, it'll go so far towards just general health guidelines.
I'm walking my dog more as much as I possibly can and stuff. But, again, I used to be all or nothing. And I used to do, I remember this thing called the Jason Statham workout. It's called the Big 555. Have you heard of it?
I just know what's coming.
Yeah, right. I got it off Men's Health or something.
When you're crying coming out to the gym after it.
But me being me, I would mix 2 days in one. So what Jason Statham would do in 2 days, I do in one session.
And you come up like Stephen Hawking.
That's exactly. And now I got a knackered shoulder. I got this, that, and the other. I would feel phenomenal afterwards. You know what I mean? I would feel great. But then I would be happy with that because in my mind it's no pain, no gain, and all that kind of stuff.
I try to pull people. I call that running the red line. I want people to kind of add that middle ground. And there's times where we push hard, times where we pull it back a little bit. And I just try to get people to sit in this place where they can train consistently, they can train hard, not burn themselves out and go back the next day and keep it moving. And I find a lot of the mentality, especially around food as well, is people get so hepped up on being perfect. Doesn't need to be perfect. If you can get 80% of it right most of the time, make some wise choices where possible. It goes so far. And then when you get very lean, for instance, the fine-tuning comes in. You have to be a bit more restrictive. You have to be a bit more kind of anal around your food choices.
It's like my brother. I should get him on this podcast. My brother's, and he won't mind me saying, he's got a midlife crisis, right? He's 3 years older than me. He's dyed his hair blonde and dyes it orange and silly colours like that. He's got a twizzly moustache now. He's got tattoos all over him, right? And stuff. But he's had a hip replacement a good 10, maybe 15 years ago.
Early,
because he was running so much. He used to do a lot of triathlons, kind of Ironman, stuff like that. You do marathons. I remember him doing the Llanelli Marathon. He sprained his ankle on the 2nd mile, and he still came second, right?
Second.
And then the following week, the following Sunday was the London Marathon, and he did that, and he's sub 3 hours. You know what I mean?
That's good going. To be fair,
I think he did the Llanelli Marathon. He'll probably have a go at me for this, and he was something like 2 hours 51 or something like that, and he did the London Marathon then 2 hours 46.
That's
a week later, you know. But he is obsessed with his diet, obsessed with his weight, you know. And he showed me the other day. Go look at me, weight loss now, and like you can see even here the veins are all popping out, and he must be like 4% body fat. I'm like, my God, surely that's not.
Does he love it though?
He loves it.
And that's each to their own.
He's
like
absolutely addicted to running, and he will tell you, you know, running is his life, and he feels better. Because he's now doing park runs and he's going first and second again. He's like, I'm back to where I should be, you know, at 55.
Fair play. The only thing I fear about that sort of like intensity is what happens if you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I find like some people get so consumed by something that they maybe neglect other things outside. And then say an injury or something takes that away, that's when people really struggle mentally.
Well, it's kind of like boxers, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You know, once they stop, and even for a lot of pros,
footballers, a lot of ex-pros do go down the pan, don't they?
And in America, the American footballers, there's a big problem with it.
It's something with the American footballers as well. It's something like 80% of them go bankrupt within 5 years.
I was just going to say that exact fact.
It's mental. Like they never, I think.
Because they have so much money thrown at them, they have bad investments. They don't know. They're
I think
all
the
young.
education around it's not great from either. Like I don't think I think they're more looked after now.
Yeah.
But like maybe 15, 20 years ago, there was here's your money, you're on your own now, sort of thing. Like.
But even somebody, they have gambling addictions. And look at Michael Jordan. You know, have you ever seen the
Last Dance?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
What
Sociopath.
a documentary! Yeah,
but I would argue
so committed. Like for me, I know nothing about basketball. Yeah, being British, but for me, he's probably the greatest sportsman that's ever lived. I just
Here's
found
a
it
little
phenomenal.
You might enjoy this then. So watching that documentary confirmed, I heard something a while ago, and they talk about. In human society, we no longer have a place for sociopaths. So whereas we used to have like Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, blah, 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 they now believe the sociopaths in society are sports stars or business leaders. And if you look at the way if you look at the way Jordan talks about losing, he can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Like if you look at him, it's like Lance Armstrong, long live the king.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like the way they talk about it, they're all on it.
I know. He was
but if you see like the way Jordan talks about losing, he doesn't have that in his thought process. And I think that's where that, like taking it out on his teammates, giving people, that's where that sociopathic, like that empathy drops off.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And I think that happens in big business as well. I think these people at the very top are considerably more ruthless than we'll ever be.
I'd come back for part 2.